Hi. Hi, and welcome to CEASAR, Association of Corporate Growth's Corporate Executive Austin San Antonio Roundtable. We have this the first Tuesday of every month, and we have corporate executives and business owners from growth-oriented companies. We do this to really give a place for ACGers and associated people to kind of gather in a peer-safe environment to really talk about issues and challenges and successes and really just connect with each other on a monthly basis. We really want to thank our Association of Corporate Growth chapter sponsors. Thank goodness for them. They are the ones that really help us really be able to support programs such as CEASAR and all of our other programs. So a big thank you to Weaver, Dykema, Insperity, and Hire Better. Today we have Mathias Ihlenfeld. He is the founder of CEO Woom Bikes. And this is a picture I took at the Growth Awards. I think it's the last Growth Awards where he won the prize for Best Small Business. So yay!
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. I actually remember that. That's a great photo. I love it. Actually, I have it also downloaded. I think I had it posted it on somewhere as well. So thank you so much for the great memories. In fact, earlier when I jumped in, Sarah also noticed my ACG awards that are featuring in my background of my remote working space. So this is not from Woom Bikes USA headquarters. It's technically, we're still working remotely for our team. So I'm actually, this today is obviously from my office here in Austin, Texas. So I'm very excited for ACG to let me talk a little bit more about Woom.
Well, we're really excited to have you. I'm so happy that you agreed to participate. Mathias is going to be talking about how we push the metals to become the fastest growing private consumer products and services company in Austin. Congratulations on that for getting that recognition too. That's so cool.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for that. Yeah, please go ahead. I'm ready to start when you are.
Okay, the next CEASAR Roundtable is going to be Tuesday, June 1st. It's the first Tuesday of every month, and it is from 12 to 1:15. So please save that date. And we really want that first Tuesday and the third Tuesday so people can put it on their calendars. The next mastermind that we have will be the third Tuesday, which is May 18th. And this is really kind of a smaller group for whoever wants to kind of get to know each other more and just really talk about some of those challenges and processing things and accountability and really kind of building those friendships. So absolutely love for you to come. Mathias, I hope you join us too. You're most welcome. The agenda today is going to be, we're just doing the welcome now. We're going to do lightning round introductions. We're going to keep it really short this time, like 30 seconds, about 30 seconds each, because what we're going to do is at the end, for the last 15 minutes from 1 to about 1:14, we're going to have two breakouts groups. I got some feedback from the mastermind group a couple of weeks ago, and they thought that breakout groups would be really nice. And we'll have Susan and me be kind of the moderator of each one, and we'll keep our group. And then Mathias will go to one group, and then he'll go to the other group. And so Mathias will be in one. You guys can just talk to him about whatever you want to. And then in the second one, when you're in the second one, we'll talk about the takeaways that you got from the session and maybe the gratefuls too. I love to talk about grateful. So each person will have a chance to do that. So that's kind of how we're going to structure it today. So we'll have the lightning rounds. Mathias will talk. We'll have a little bit of question and answer if there's around that, and then we'll go into the breakouts, and then we'll come back at about 1:14 to say goodbye. And then let's see. I'm going to do an introduction for Mathias, so he'll go last for the introductions, and then he can start. And then first, we're going to start with our President-elect Susan Vaughn to tell us a little bit about ACG and all the many benefits that you will receive. Oh, before I say that, this is recorded, and we do want you to put in the chat box your contact information if you're willing. Everybody who's actually a member will get a list of everybody who came in the emails and everything, but just so the people who are not members can have that contact information, put that contact information. And with that, I'll introduce Susan Vaughn, who's going to tell us about ACG and its benefits.
Hi everyone. Carrie, thank you so much. Always, Sarah, thank you so much for coordinating us and facilitating. And thank you everyone for being here. There's a lot going on at ACG right now, and we just continue to pick up momentum every month. It seems the programming just gets better and better, and the opportunities to connect do as well. We recently had an experiment, I'll call it. We had an in-person happy hour. We kind of walked on the wild side, but we did it really responsibly. And I'll tell you, people voted with their presence. We had 32 attendees. It was at a wonderful place called Blended Culture. Was it South Lamar or South Congress, Sarah?
South Lamar.
Thank you. Sarah did a great job of finding us a venue where we could spread out and be responsible about interacting with each other. And everyone was so excited to be there. So it was a wonderful event. We hope to have more. Speaking of benefits of being a member, that was a members only event. So we will be having more of the members only events. And we hope that you will join us as part of ACG. There's also many other opportunities to be part of multi-chapter events. A good example of that is coming up on May the 13th at noon. We will be having Rising Tech Stars programming, and that is a collaboration between Austin San Antonio chapter, Silicon Valley, and Silicon Hills. It's the third in a sequence of 4 programs that have just been fascinating. And I love that these are recorded. Yesterday, I was in transit from Houston to Austin, and I listened to 2 of them that I had missed, and it was just fantastic. So hope that you guys will take advantage and do the same. The next thing coming up after May the 13th will be our monthly luncheon on June the 30th. And please put that on your calendar, because if you have not seen Morris Miller speak about Xenix disinfecting company, he has a beautiful line of robots that do an amazing job through laser technology of disinfecting hospitals and other facilities in a very highly efficient manner and at 99.9% accuracy. So it's something that we could all benefit from learning about, and hopefully it's the future for all of us. So I will say goodbye and hello to the next person, but I am with Insperity. I failed to mention that. And Insperity is, of course, most of you know, an outsourced HR provider with benefits, payroll, technology, and so forth. Thank you, Carrie.
Great, Susan. Thank you so much for the introduction and for telling us more about the wonderful benefits. I am Carrie Vanston. I am the Ambassador's Officer for ACG, and I'm also the Director of CEASAR. In addition, I am the alligator wrangler, and I help executives and business owners who are struggling with focus and overload and just feeling anxious and stressed out and overwhelmed. I help them with a proven program that I have that helps them with really being clear about their mission and their vision, help them shift out of into growth mindset and really leverage their strengths so they can really be the leaders they really want to be. For good referrals for me are like highly motivated people who are looking for support to moving into the next level of business and life. And if you work with me, you can say, see you later, alligator. How about Andy?
Sure. Hi, this is Andy Fogarasi. I'm CEO of my little company, Austin Beta, which I've had for about 20-something years. I do interim COO, CFO work, specializing in startups and fast growth companies. Operations, supply chain, and e-commerce is my specialty. My company, Austin Beta, kind of fades in and out. Sometimes I get involved in other startups in a more substantial way, such as one I did several years ago called partstree.com, where as CEO, I took it to about 20 million in annual revenue from a standing start, shipping about 3,000 orders a day with our own warehouse management system, put all the pieces together. But happy to help out with other folks or jump into something in a bigger way, and happy to be here today to listen to what everyone else has got going on.
Thank you, Andy. How about you, Dave? David?
That means I have to unmute. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Turpin. I am a co-founder and the sole remaining principal now of Peleus Group, which is an advisory group that helps people a lot more than, it's kind of like Andy, a lot more than just write a report they stick on the shelf, come in next to them and help them out asking the tough questions. My tagline is just stick arithmetic and common sense in the same sentence, and most people tend to be amazed, which is sort of a sad commentary. But then once in a while, I'll step out and do a bigger thing. A year and a half ago, I spent most of the year as the consulting chief of staff for the Salvation Army here in Austin, redoing a couple $1 million worth of food service contracts, restarting a big tax credit program, and helping the then commander with a realignment of staff and the right people in the right seat. And my observation is that everybody can always use someone to ask that tough question, and most people do not like to have the conversation, which is why I don't do a whole lot of people for brief periods. They're either in or they're out.
Gotcha.
Mathias,
Well, I didn't
welcome
know,
to us all today, sir.
David, I didn't know that
Thank you.
all that stuff about the Salvation Army. That is so cool. I
Yeah.
actually, when I lived in New York City, I lived in the Salvation Army house for women.
Oh, good for you.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
I forgot to mention, I also on the side, as a legacy of all this, I own a restaurant and catering company here in Austin. So
very cool. Thank
Dave,
you.
one question for you. Did
Yes,
you
sir.
learn how to make good pizzas?
I have learned there's no such thing as somebody knows everything in the restaurant business. And if people are really good in the kitchen, they tend not to have spent enough time developing all those other managerial skills. If you know the local restaurateur here, Jeff Weinberger, he and I, early on when we got together, we both agreed, no one person can do it all well. And if they say they can, run away. So no, I do not.
I was thinking pizza at David's.
Yeah, we have great pizza, but we also have a cook who's been with us for 25 years, who's the chief cook. That's why we have good stuff.
No,
Awesome.
we need to get them here. Charu.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Sorry, I was late 5 minutes. I did join earlier, had to join some call. I belong to company. I'm a founder of InnoSec, which is innovative security. We are driven by the objective of simplifying compliance and basically transforming cybersecurity. That's have been our goal. The motivation factor, most of the time compliance and cybersecurity cost a lot of money. And if you visit our website, much of the differentiating factor, we are making a lot of things free. If you go there, assessments are free. A lot of stuff we are trying to make it free. Also, we supported with the company called Securitin, which is our e-learning platform. So either you pay us, if you don't want to pay us, you do it yourself. Take our training, learn from it, and do it yourself. It's very granular. We do not currently have any competition. We don't go on LinkedIn yet. We don't go on Udemy yet, but we're trying to see whether we need it or not, trying to create our own brand name. If we are successful, then we are millionaires. Otherwise, we are here.
Fingers crossed on millionaires.
So good thing is good. We are 16 people company on a track to become a 50 people company. I just had a good, huge work award where we are going to service company on identity access management, getting up to almost 30 people onboarded as quickly as possible. So things are far better. Probably they're much, much better down the line within the next 6 to 8 months. So it's a good sign. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Charu. How about James and Jen?
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Glad to be here. James Jennifer Crean, we're Crean Inc. We provide engineering services and smart factory transformation services to businesses. On the engineering services side, we do a lot of work in the aerospace industry, space launch and aviation. Did some work on the recent rover that landed on Mars and various different systems that are going to the moon, and and that. And then on smart factory side, much more down to earth. We work with companies across all industries to basically scale their operations with the same resources that they have typically. Typically, we will help companies to double their productivity with the resources that they have. That's kind of our sort of baseline outcome. And oftentimes it's more than that. We just recently worked with a company that we took their production from around 500 units a day to 1,200 units a day with the same people, same machines, and obviously help them to significantly increase their profitability. We work with private equity firms as well, and helping them to assess operational improvements that might be available to them prior to a purchase, and put a plan in place for day one. So basically just helping American companies to engineer great products and produce them cheaper than anywhere else in the world, and still maintaining amazing quality standards. So that's our focus.
Thanks a lot.
May I ask a question, James and Jen?
Sure.
You kind of piqued my interest there. My fellow countryman behind Jen on the wall.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, did you do any work with that Italian company, or just FYI, it's the Ferrari F2004 that Michael Schumacher drove to his world-winning championship. So anytime racing is involved, you're piquing my interest.
Well, our tagline is accelerating performance, and we're all a bunch of race fans here. So we're always looking for ways to emulate the best of the best. And Michael Schumacher was just phenomenal, just in being able to deliver results time and time again. So,
and hopefully his son will do the same.
Yeah, we're all rooting for that one. Yeah, I'm a big race fan, and I'll talk a little bit later about that, because thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Carolyn, are you on? I see your face, but I don't see your.
Oh, I'm here. I just figured none of you needed to watch me. I'm doing physical therapy while we're talking. So it's the only time I could squeeze in my exercises. And I ate. So anyway, but yes, hi, I'm Carolyn Jenkins. I am currently heading the software division of a company called EPsoft. I started with them in January. We are a full end-to-end digital transformation and automation company. So our platform can help you discover what your current processes really are, because they're probably not the ones that you put the Post-it notes on the wall. That's probably not really working that way. So it can show you where you're doing a lot of repeat work. It can give you analytics to show you where you have an opportunity to automate something with a software bot and get significant savings before you spend the time doing the automation. So you have the ability to put in some like human costs, what's it costing you, and can with variables, you can look at those ROIs. It will automatically do all your BPN mapping. So if you discover your processes, you don't actually have to spend the time to map it. It'll do it for you. From those processes, you can decide which tasks you want to automate and which ones need to stay human. So you can have fully automated, fully human, or a hybrid approach. And then of course it has the RPA tools in it, low code, no code, drag and drop. It's a very rapidly growing space, and it's exciting to be there. And we make just huge, significant cost savings, time savings for our customers. And it's really a very horizontal solution, but most of our traction has been in banking and manufacturing and healthcare, just, because you have to focus when you get started. And so that's kind of where our focus areas have been, but we do have customers kind of across the board in any industry. It is a very horizontal solution. So I'm having a lot of fun.
Great. Thank you, Carolyn. Sarah?
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Singer, ACG Chapter Executive. Happy to see you all again. If you have any questions regarding membership or anything else for ACG, feel free to give me a call or send me an email. And my favorite race car driver is Sebastian Vettel, because he winked at me once.
Ah, nice, nice. We might be able to see him if he retains his race seat at Aston Martin. We might see him here in October. So yeah, also
hope so.
fellow German countryman. So appreciate the love there.
Tom's got some competition. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. So I wanted to introduce, give a little bit of background on Mathias real quick. I had the pleasure of meeting him when he spoke at the ACG meeting when we were still doing it in person 2 or 3 years ago. And then I got to know him really quite well. And then he won the Growth Award, which was so exciting. So I'm just so honored and excited that he's here with us today. So thank you so much for coming, Mathias. Just to give you a little background, the Woom Bikes USA is family owned and operated. Mathias started Woom Bikes USA in 2014 in Austin, Texas, bringing the European design and love of riding to families across North America. It's a disruptor of the children's bike category in North America and ranked 259th overall of the fastest growing private companies in 2019. The 2019 Inc. 5,000 list 7th among top Austin companies and 20th in Texas. He's raised in Germany, and actually his brother started the company, the Woom, there, and then Mathias came on. He moved to the United States in 1994, playing tennis. He ultimately got a degree in MBA from University of Alabama. He consulted for a long time for some top management companies, and then he built Woom up to 45 plus employees in the last few years. One of the things I really love about him is that they have a really great model for giving back to the community. Maybe he can talk a little bit about that, called Upcycle, where people trade in their bikes for a higher level bike, because there's a whole bunch of different levels, sizes, and then they donate that to charity. So I'm always seeing this on LinkedIn, all the wonderful things they're doing. So we'd love to hear maybe a little bit more about that too. So with great regard, Mathias.
Well, thank you so much, Carrie. It's how do you know all this stuff about me? That's really awesome. I appreciate the introduction. It covers quite a bit, around my history. And yes, I'd love to talk about our community give back program. There's only so few times. I'm from Germany originally. There's only so few times when I've literally cried. That the other day when we did the event to give bikes back, I was tearing up because you see how much impact we make to the community and giving back to people in need that can really use bikes to make a difference. So it's really special to me. I'd love to touch on the community give back program, which has been near and dear to my heart, of course. As Carrie, thank you for the introduction, Carrie, I appreciate it. And Sarah, also thank you for referencing my talk at ACG I think it was a couple of years ago, it was the beginning of 2019. And I'll be touching on some of those topics, but also some different ones. And of course, I was also on Tom's podcast. I think this was before the pandemic also, I think. So I had the pleasure of talking to Tom. So if you guys want to kind of Google that, that was a really great conversation. Tom made that really easy for me to talk about Woom. And yeah, so today I had 3 things I wanted to talk about. It was kind of like the challenges and the lessons learned around Woom. But I do think that not everybody knows what Woom is, right? I know within this group, I see some very familiar faces. I've done a lot of work with Andy and Carolyn, of course, and of course Susan. And so, everybody else, have you heard of Woom before? Maybe if you have, raise your hand, please. Okay, all right, so I like it. I like it because the title of 2 years ago was the fastest growing business you've never heard of. So I cannot use the same title anymore because you all have heard of it. So I had to change it a little bit. I've taken the note on the community give back program. I think also Sarah had said an interesting question early on around the impact of the pandemic on our business. But before that, I would like to share a couple of things with you just as a couple of pictures around that. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. I just want to kind of talk a little bit more around kind of how it all started, because I think talking about the history is always intriguing. So here on April 22nd, Monday, it was 2013 is when I got a bike that was built in my brother's garage in Vienna. My brother Marcus and his business partner Christian started Woom in 2013 with the intention to create the world's best bike for children. And this is one of the bike models that I've received. It was hand delivered by my dad to my home here in Austin. And my son, he was just a little bit too young for it, but to ride it, clearly. Is this on the picture you see Luca here. But I immediately knew that this is going to be something really impressive, beautiful design, almost a piece of art. And it was beautiful. And I knew this is going to be special. And that thought was validated about 4 or 5 weeks later when my neighbor came over. And my neighbor came over and he saw the bike and he wanted to buy one for his daughter, Millie. So he asked me, can you get me a bike? And I said, well, I only have this one. I can't sell it to you. Let me call my brother. So I called my brother and he said, yeah, I can get you a bike. So my dad came back and, you know, he used to travel quite a bit for work, but he came back and brought a bike and I sold my first bike to my neighbor. And he didn't even ask how much it was going to cost. So I sold my first bike and I was like, wow, there's really something there. And so then basically the story and the idea of Woom in the US was born. Just another photo here on the left, you'll see my son Luca, and on the right side, you see him now. By the way, this is a completely confidential and secret conversation we're having today. Why? Because the bike he's riding on the right is a bike that we haven't launched yet. It's an electric pedal assist off-road bike for children of ages 8 and up. It's something that is unheard of and never not seen as such. And so on the left, it's him a little bit over 1 year and old, and on the right you'll see him jumping and taking off. And a lot has happened during these 8 years. And today I want to just share a few of them with you. There's no way I can share, obviously, everything with you today. So it's a lot of stuff. Anyway, just to kind of a couple of pictures around how it all started. Literally, this is how it started in 2013 on the left. That was literally Marcus and Christian on the left putting together the bikes in their garages. This is literally the story of founders, you know, starting in their own garages. And you know all the other stories about the other founders. And that's on the right side, that's me. That's me in my garage in 2014, starting the business. And the only way, and Carrie alluded to it a little bit earlier, the only way to do it was to do this part-time. So I was an SAP software consultant on the, during the day, and at night I was building bikes and shipping bikes and maintaining websites, et cetera, et cetera. And then on the weekends, I would go out to events because people didn't know Woom. They didn't know what we were all about. So I had to convey that message to potential customers. And that was one of the big lessons learned, is that to build a brand, to create something from scratch is extremely difficult and quite a lot of hard work. One of the questions I got a lot was like, is it really worth it, right? Is it worth it? Totally was worth it. It's been a great journey, fun journey to do that. And so today we just opened a 30,000 square foot warehouse in Austin, and we've had record success in the US. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. The first time I talked a little bit about resilience is remember when I talked about selling my first bike to my neighbor. I thought this is going to be a slam dunk. I'm going to go kill this thing. So I'm taking Luca's bike. I actually have it still here, okay? This is one of my goals is to create a Woom museum. So this is still the first bike that came to the United States So I literally walked into a bank in 2014 with my bike and a helmet. I walked into the bank and I said, hey guys, I have a really great idea. I want to go start selling bikes online. And they're like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. It looks like a cool bike, but yeah, we are, you need to talk to the SBDC. I think you probably guys know the SBDC, Small Business Development Center. Talk to Mr. Johnson. Hopefully you won't see this, but talk to Mr. Johnson at the SBDC and we'll go from there. So I walk into Mr. Johnson's office and I said, he's like, what would you like to do? I was like, I like to sell bikes online in the United States. And he said, tell me more. I said, well, these really great bikes, very well designed, best in class, etc., etc. I want to just have a website and I want to sell them online. And he says, okay. He said, well, it's going to be, what is this bike? $350. And he says, Matthias, sit down. There's no way anybody is going to pay $350 for a kid's bike for which the child is going to outgrow it in a year from now. He said, go back home, write up a business plan, and then we can continue to talk. Oh, I walked out of the office. I was cooked. I had these expectations. I had these high hopes to, build this great company because I had a great product and I thought this is going to be pretty easy. And it was a very humbling experience. And I spent the next 2 to 3 months around writing that business plan, going back and forth, and and then the history of woom went about it. And the first 13 bikes I sold in 2014 were the most difficult bikes that I've sold because nobody knew about woom. Nobody knew that I existed. Nobody knew we were there. And so the first 13 bikes were super hard. I remember on a Saturday, by the way, the big lesson learned was you should not give out your personal cell phone number as a customer service hotline number. But that's what I did. I didn't have money to buy a number. So I'm just like, yeah, call 512-695-9780. If you have any questions, I will be able to help you. I remember I was mowing the lawn on a Saturday afternoon. It was 4 or 5 o'clock. And I had my earphones in and I got a phone call. And I stopped the lawnmower and I was excited because it was a potential customer. And then I told that customer that I needed to stop mowing the lawn, but I'd be happy to help him. I talked to him about the woom and woom bikes and the value of it. And eventually he was going to buy one from me. And about 6 weeks ago on Facebook, that person posted about the fact that I stopped mowing the lawn and I was there for that customer to answer the questions that he was having. And he ended up being a repeat customer, buying 4 more bikes in a matter of those 7 years from woom. And that was a great testimony. And it showcased that you can't just treat a business as a business. It's kind of like a child. So you have to give it love, you have to care for it, you have to be there all the time. Because if you don't, it won't be successful. And so I've been always joking about this one. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I do want to, yeah, you've seen that picture of I want to just share that because I'm extremely proud of my kids, obviously. So on the left, you see my now 9-year-old son, Luca. On the right, you see my now 6-year-old daughter, Sophia. And those are my 2 children. But in reality, I have 3 children. And the 3rd child is woom. And I really mean that because as much love and as I put into my kids, you have to put it into the business as well, because otherwise it's going to be hard. So really, there's a lot of passion behind it. And all that effort, you need to invest it, or I needed to invest it to make it work. So remember the 13 bikes I sold in 2014, and we have now after 7 years have sold over 45,000 bikes last year. So our growth rate is tremendous here in the United States alone. And we are shipping now directly to customers all over the United States and Canada as well. So a lot of effort, a lot of care has gone into it. And part of the stories, I think you may remember, for the ones who have listened to the ACG stories, was that, you know, at the ACG event was around overcoming adversity and really the importance of having the resilience to overcome some of the challenges that we need to, or that I needed to overcome, right? So I at one point in early 2017, I remember our dishwasher was broken at our house. And my wife asked me whether, you know, when we can go fix the dishwasher. And I told her that we can't fix the dishwasher because we don't have any money. It was all in the business. And she said, why don't you just charge it to the credit card? And I said, the credit cards are all maxed out. And so she started to almost cry because we couldn't get all the basics kind of fixed that needed to be fixed. And so I'm a big historian. As you remember, I had the first bike. I also, by the way, have the second bike. It's right next to me. But I also still have all the credit cards that I maxed out. So it's one of those things that that'll be always with me because back then, even though we were successful, the bank wasn't going to loan us any money because for a whole host of reasons. You know, I think that everybody that's listening today is running their own business. You guys know what the challenges are. I've got some funny quotes here that I would like to share. You know, this one was a lender at a business bank, and he says, "Well, we love woom, but you're growing too fast." Okay. Then someone else says, "Well, it's a pretty good growth story. Congratulations. However, our financing tool shows that you pass only 9 out of 10 ratios. So we missed on the 1 ratio, and so we couldn't get more funding from the bank." And then also another one was saying, "Well, we should be able to fund our growth through ongoing cash flow. Ongoing cash flow. When you grow in what we did last year, we grew 100% from 2019 to 2020. How do you fund your business growth of 100% through ongoing cash flow if your lead times are 6 to 8 months?" Right. So that's been significant. That's the biggest test of my resilience is, or, you know, to get through this adversity of funding your operation. And sometimes you go to bed and you think about how to make payroll and how the numbers add up, and that tests you. But it's been quite the ride. But now I can say that we are in a great space. And but again, once the big lesson learned is that there's always different challenges at different parts of a business. There is different growth cycles. There's different cycles within the business, and the challenges change. So you need to also have the adaptability for those different times. And so the skills required for when I started the business are completely different to the skills I need today. Because I started off being half an employee at woom. I hired my first employee in 2015. Now we have 45. And so now the challenges are certainly different. So the second thing I wanted to talk about today was, after resilience, was my attitude or propensity toward learning. I really consider myself a lifelong learner and studier, though I do have trouble reading books. I mean, it is not easy for me to sit down and read books, but I listen to podcasts. I read and try to gather and learn as much as I can, because this is not the first time somebody has gone through this kind of a challenge. So for me, learning has been a big one, and meeting others, asking them for their advice. You know, I think one of the advice I got was at one point was like, well, you should join like a CEO network. So I did. And it was one of the best decisions I made, because I've been exposed to others who have been in the same situation, similar situation, and I've acquired tools and knowledge that I otherwise wouldn't have. So in other words, I give you a good example, by the way. So I don't know if you guys know cultural index, maybe predictive index, it's all somewhat the same. So, I mean, maybe a small nuances there, but that's one of the things I didn't know about. How should I have known about it? So I learned about how to use cultural index to improve the composition of my team, to hire better, to bring in the right talent that's needed to build the team. And now I'm extremely proud to know that I have a team that I can count on. I don't have to do everything anymore. I don't have to answer that phone call anymore. I don't have to do the social media post, etc., etc. So learning for me was a big component. And then just trying to also be somewhat authentic around who you are as a person. I think that's one of those big topics. Sometimes you read these books and you hear about this CEO saying this and that, and they all have a game plan and they do this, that, and the other. And you feel like, do I really have the same skill? And do I, for me, the most important thing now is for me to be authentic, to be who I am, and to lead how I'm leading, and also admit that I don't know everything that I need to know. That's why I have a great team around me that I can count on. And so the realization was, for me, came around 2019, when we were faced with a major challenge. No, it was 2020, I'm sorry, 2020. One of my customer service manager he was diagnosed with cancer. And so he had to leave the organization, and our customer experience went really down the drain. It was really painful to watch. I'd tried to take it on myself and kind of right the ship a little bit, but it was pretty ugly at one point. And I was fortunate and lucky enough to hire an amazing talent from another unnamed consumer products company in Austin that's pretty successful. But I was able to bring in a great talented leader in that area. Now we have one of the best customer experiences in the industry. There's no question about it. I really pride myself in taking care of the customer. So not only do we have a great product, like I said, but we also have amazing customer service. And that's one of the things that I really strive on, is making sure that we're taking care of that customer. So what's the point of this? Is the point was my realization that I didn't and can't do everything anymore, nor am I really good at certain things, because I don't have that expertise. So I need to bring in the right talent that will help me take the vision that I have and translate it into reality. And so ever since, we've bolstered the team with several additional leaders that can help me, that can help take a lot of those things off my plate, so I don't have to deal with the day-to-day stuff, and can work a little bit more on strategic initiatives. And the last one I want to talk about is, and I think you can all relate, is that there are no silver bullets. There is no one thing that's going to go bring you onto the map, right? It's like a big puzzle. It's a 5,000 piece puzzle, right? Where you need to put all those pieces of the puzzle together, and you can't just have it done within a short amount of time and be successful. So it's just all the bits and pieces that we need to put together, especially on the marketing side. There is no single individual thing that we do or have done that puts us on the map. I remember I was so excited. One of the things I saw, we had this, this is some top secret stuff here. On websites, you can install some apps to figure out if a celebrity has bought something from you, right? Now whether that works all the time or not, that's to be seen. But I remember one time, George Strait bought a bike for his grandson from us, Bubba Strait, and so I was like, yay, yes, big time. And then a couple of weeks later, you guys remember 90210? I'm sure you do, right? So Ian Ziering bought a bike for his kids, and then he wrote actually a little blog about it, and so it's kind of funny. Initially I thought, oh, the switch will be flipped on, and all of a sudden we'll be out there. People know about us and everything else, but it's not the case. It's a lot of small little things that we're doing to put ourselves on the map. And part of the success equation is that not only do we offer a great product that really makes a big difference and a change with the child and the parent, obviously, but we also offer that customer experience so that you know that the customer knows that we're taking care of them and that the customer can recommend our bikes or our products to other parents who face similar challenges. And so, yeah, that's basically the big lesson learned, is that it's a combination of factors, great teamwork to really be successful. And of course, we still have a lot of challenges. We are still have major struggles. You know, one of the topics that, you know, I didn't particularly plan on talking about, but I can, was around the impact of the pandemic on our business, right? And so I'd be happy to kind of entertain that a little bit. But before I do, let me just do a quick time check here. Carrie, how are we doing from a time perspective? I'm sorry, you're on mute, sorry.
We need to stop at 1 to go into groups. So you have
Okay.
till, you know, like a minute before 1.
Okay, perfect. So let me just then talk a little bit about the one topic you had asked me about, is our community give back program. If you don't mind.
I want to leave about 5 minutes to just for general questions before we go into the break.
Okay, then I'll just kind of wrap it up a little bit, because I'd rather entertain some questions on that end of it. So the community give back program is also something that's near and dear to my heart, obviously. In fact, the other day we gave, you know, we don't have bikes right now in stock available for sale because of the impact of the pandemic to the supply chain, the worldwide, you know, supply chain issues in the bicycle industry. But nevertheless, we made a commitment and a promise to the school for the deaf to donate bikes as part of our program to support them. That was a program that we worked with Mike Rowe on Return the Favor. So we were on Return the Favor with Mike Rowe and giving bikes locally to Austin children in need. We also give back to bikes to, for example, Helping Hand Home or Austin Angels, and all over the United States. So we really want to give back. And we have a program called Upcycling. And on the Upcycling, we'll take back bikes, bring them back, and give you credit toward the purchase of the next bigger bike. And some of these bikes that we're getting back from the Upcycling program, we're turning them around and donating them to kids in need. And like I said, I've seen a lot of powerful events where we made a big change. And so that's really near and dear to my heart, and I really enjoy doing that. And giving back to the community is something that's really powerful and impactful. Like I said, right now it's a little bit tricky with the pandemic, or with the impact of the pandemic to the supply chain. I don't have enough time to go into too much detail, but it's worst case scenario in my opinion. I don't think it could be any worse than what we're seeing right now. Like, nothing is really working in terms of bike production, component production, supply chain, moving, ocean, rail yards, ports, you name it. Everything is delayed. Everything is congested. But it's also not only bikes, you see it in all kinds of other topics as well. So hopefully we are well equipped to maneuver through it, of course, but it just pains me because I know that there are parents out there, there are children out there who want to ride our bikes, and we won't be able to give those bikes to them. And it just pains me to watch that, because that's what I want to do. Is I want to give them make bikes available so that we can get children out riding bikes. And that's our mission. I should have probably started with the mission earlier. I kind of jump through that a little bit. Our mission is to have kids fall in love with cycling, and we can't do it right now, and it pains us and it pains the whole organization. And there's not that much we can do about it. Like I said, we'll get through it, but there's still going to be some ongoing delays that we have to work through a little bit. But the future is bright for us. We'll continue to grow. We have big, lofty goals, and so our team is fully motivated to really work together and be successful. So I'll leave it at that at this point, and maybe we can talk a little bit about some Q&A.
One interesting thing about Mathias's woom is that they have like 10 different size bikes. So people move through the bikes pretty quick. Kids move through the bikes pretty quick, but they have a high, and they're rather expensive in comparison to some of the other bikes. But they have good resale value, and then of course they are also able to give them. So that's something that's really interesting about your bikes. Why don't people raise their hands if they have a question? Yeah. Okay. So let's try to keep our questions fairly short. So if everybody has a little bit of, we have about 5 minutes. I think I saw Charu's question, and then James and Jen.
Great question, Mathias. Nice listening. I really liked it. I could feel the passion. It's really, really good presentation, good knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Things you shared, I feel personally that's a problem, very critical for any business. I'd just like to know a little more about your side. You did mention that lead time of 6 to 8 months. That's kind of interesting thought process when it comes to lead time of your industry. That's like you're turning around twice in a year, basically. That's a massive inventory holding capacity. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah, it's actually the 6 to 8 months was during the golden ages of before the pandemic, to be quite honest. No, so when your lead times are 6 to 8 months, what does that do, right? You have to order. Obviously, we're ordering every month, but with a lead time of 6 to 8 months, when you grow 100% year over year, it's craziness, right? Yep. You need to forecast. You need to have capital available. So I think you're hitting the nerve. You're just pinching the right nerve in me. Because that's been the major pain point for us, is that we're growing rapidly with a 6 to 8 months lead time. How do you forecast? How do you have capital requirements? You're a D2C business. You don't do retails. You don't take pre-orders. You're just moving. You need to make sure that everything you're ordering, you also have to sell D2C, right? So you're spot on, Charu. I think it's a tremendous challenge. And frankly, right now, our lead times are definitely more than 8 months. Maybe our lead times are 18 to 20 months right now.
It's interesting that you're able to do business with that much of lead time, which is really, sometimes I like to have a coffee and speak with you. One more question, last one probably. How did you come up with the price point of $359 for the smallest bike of the children when you see the competition such a heavy? What made you think that you'll be successful with this price point?
Brilliant question, brilliant question. We're the Tesla of kids' bikes.
Say that again?
We're the Tesla of kids' bikes.
Tesla of kids' bike. I like it.
Let's make sure James has a chance to answer his question. Was that
no? It was a good answer. Yeah, I wasn't. Oh, give me 20 seconds to answer.
Okay.
Basically, what we do is, Charu will give you the best possible quality at the respective price. If you want to buy no pun intended, if you want to buy a Nissan electric vehicle, you can do that. But and I know this sounds a little bit arrogant, but we offer the best value out there in terms of best quality and design, and we are ensuring success. But also, our used bike right now, that one for $359, is right now selling more than $359, by the way. And also has always been selling between 70 to 80% of MSRP. Whereas when you go to buy a $99 Walmart bike, you buy that $99 Walmart bike, you take it out of Walmart, you try to resell it. How much do you get for it? Zero. Yeah. And so therefore, it's total cost of ownership. That's what you need to think of. That's the challenge we have to address with our customer base, because we need to convey total cost of ownership, and that we package nicely. So appreciate that question.
I don't mean to challenge your price. I just wanted to
no.
Thought process. Okay.
Perfect question. There's a lot to it, but I love the question.
Yep. Thank you.
James, would you like to ask your question? Thank you, Charu.
Sure, Matthias, great presentation. Thank you very much. I just was wondering, in the supply chain challenge, have you looked at onshoring options at all for helping on any of those issues?
Yeah, we're doing onshoring in Europe right now. So our we have moved about 30% of our capacity to a factory in Eastern Europe. So that's step number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the future, the remaining topics will be part of our own imagination, and also having a strategy around it and the right resources in place for us to do what I think you implied to do. I think it would be beautiful if we could onshore this here into the United States or into North America. I think that would be certainly very, very beautiful. I would love it from a JIT perspective, et cetera, et cetera. I think it makes perfect sense. Are we there today? No, we have much other things to challenge a little bit, but a lot needs to be in place to do it. But I appreciate also that question. I think it makes perfect sense. I would love to do it.
Just real quick, what's the toughest component these days to deal with? Or that?
Well, I mean, look, for example, if we order a derailleur right now, the lead time is 600 days.
Wow.
So if you want an 8-speed derailleur from SRAM right now, you place that order today, you get it in 600 days from now. And then you're looking at the industry, how much lead time, how much capacity are they adding? And they've been down that road. So I need to know one other minute. So you go to the bike shop and you want to buy a bike. You walk in there, you got a bike? Or you call them, do you have a bike? No, you call all the bike shops. Everybody thinks you want a bike, and all the bike dealers are ordering bikes. And so the question is, are we in a bubble right now?
Right.
Are we in a bubble? And maybe some manufacturers, some component manufacturers know that maybe they already anticipate we're in a bubble. Why would they build up more capacity when they don't really need to? Right, or when they don't want to. So we don't see the added capacity in the bicycle industry right now, as far as I can tell. So therefore we are experiencing these issues. I mean, you see it with Peloton bikes, right? Peloton was air freighting their bikes God only knows what the prices were there for the air freight, because they had the same issues, and now they bought Precor, I think, and they are trying to do it in the United States, but it doesn't mean that they're going to get all of their components from Asia right away either. So I don't want to speak for Peloton, but there is an issue with components as well, and the availability of resources. You see the automobile industry, there's not enough chips for cars and all those things. Yep. I mean, it's just it's just this global issue right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, truly is. Well, if there's anything we can do to help, we'd love to help. Work with your suppliers.
No, I certainly appreciate that. It's a very fundamental thing that's missing right now, and we have to just work through it. But we will get through it. I'm very confident we're in a good situation for the future, but there's a lot more work to be done. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. I think we're going to change it to 6 minutes each. There's a small group, so maybe that will work fine. And then we'll come back briefly afterwards and reconnect, and then we'll be off. Okay.
Matthias, I want to hear that one. You're muted.
Okay, I said TAM. Total addressable. Is it still recorded? Total addressable market, I think, Charu, is the answer for the United States. And so I think that's where there's
Did everybody put their information into the chat room that wanted to do that? If not, do it right now. And in fact, I'm going to save it, and we'll also send it out. But thank you so much. We tried to stop on time. And one of the things I did want to just real briefly mention is that I would love some help in building this group. We're building organically, and Sarah's been working with me and Susan, and we've been doing about 10 months now. We've had amazing speakers every time, and I would love to grow it, especially as we come off of the the COVID thing. So if anybody has any suggestions, please let me know. If you have people, executives and business owners that you can invite, please do just forward the note. It's basically, we want, higher level executives and business owners that are in growth oriented companies versus like the more real service oriented companies. And it's a place for us to meet here that you guys can talk on a peer-to-peer basis. And the third thing is, I was even thinking maybe of getting a little committee together, to kind of help come up with ideas. So if you're interested in doing that, let me know. But anyway, let's work on really building this up in an authentic and personal way, so that this connects and gives us the opportunity to really connect with each other. And with that, thank you so much, Mathias. That was really wonderful, and we so appreciate you coming. And I'll see everybody on May 20th, I think it is, for Mastermind, I hope. And then be sure to put that June date down, June 1st, for the speaker, which we'll announce sometime soon. So thank you so much for coming.
Take
Thanks
care.
for having me. Great questions. Thank you. Be safe.
Thank you, Mathias.
Yes.